Yo, what's good, Meatheads? Hope you're having an amazing day, and welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It is your host, IFBB Pro Matt Butale, and I'm coming at you with another topic today. But before we dive in, I want to let you know you have the opportunity to join the Meathead Monsters Club, which is a free Facebook community if you want to be a part of the Meathead community and meet other Meatheads like yourself, all right? Also, don't forget to screenshot and share this podcast to your Instagram story for support, all right? Also, if you have any questions and you'd like to ask me or Nick, and you want to tune into the live recording, or you want to search for me for whatever reason, that's Matt Butale on Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook. All right, YouTube plug, shameless plug. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to see some extra Meathead content. All right, so this is going to be special because today we're joined with a very, very, very special guest. I watched him grow essentially from an international online fitness coach to now what is a head coach in the community that allowed me to monetize my craft and help so many people across the globe. The newly married, the one and only Nick Matthews, bro. How you doing, man?
What's going on, meatheads? How's everybody doing? I'm doing great, brother. So super pumped to be on here. So I appreciate you letting me be on the podcast.
Dude, I'm super grateful here to have you, man. We're all super grateful to have you chime in and, drop some gems, some nuggets to us when it comes to this very important topic that we both feel like we align very well with, given our experience not only in the fitness industry, but in life. And today we'll be talking about the quote unquote no participation trophy. All right. And the mindset that accompanies it. All right. So it's time to embrace your inner meathead. We're really going to dive into the meat and potatoes today. All right. So I want to take the wheel first and just start it off with sort of relating this sort of no participation trophy, saying to essentially my whole entire career as an athlete, not just as a bodybuilder, but, when I did freestyle wrestling or when I did like football, for example. There was a certain behavior. I mean, whenever we went out and we had all the athletes in a room or in the change room, you could pretty much see who was going to dominate and who was going to carry the weight of the team, and basically who wouldn't. Not really like on a judgmental like sort of point, but in a way where you could look at the person and understand that they're doing things for either the wrong intentions or the wrong reasons. So it's like people that go to do things only to get claps from other people, or people that only do things to be recognized as that kid in school. You'll notice them in the change room, and of course their performance mirrors that. And today we're going to really be breaking down not only just my experience, but Nick's experiences as well in his life, how having that mindset of only wanting to do something for the reward or only doing something because you're going to be acknowledged for it, how toxic that can be towards your overall success, and how much that can actually hold you back as not only an athlete, but an individual in life. So let's dive into it, Nick. I want to hear a little bit about something that you've got to relate to what we have to talk about when it comes to the no participation mindset.
Yeah, man. So mine goes like way back. So I played baseball my entire life. Ended up getting signed to play college baseball. But throughout around Little League, so I know there's different terms for states and Canadians. So Little League is pretty much the age around 11 to 13 years old. So around there. That's when I realized I was actually pretty athletic when it came to baseball. And I actually got picked for an all-star team. We set a few of our state records for our county. I ended up being like an athlete of the year and things like that. But I hustled, dude. I hustled so hard. And then I think it was, I was around 12 or 13 years old, and it was the award ceremony. And dude, I was pumped. I was like, I got athlete of the year. I know I did this, and this. And they started giving out participation trophies. And it was like kids that didn't show up to practice, kids that never saw an inning, kids that didn't care to be there, and they got trophies. And I'm not saying you shouldn't get some kind of recognition for being on the team or something. I'm not saying people should be discredited, mm-hmm. But I'm saying whenever there's people out there like me and you were talking about, where it's I'm putting my all into this every single day. I'm watching videos on how to get better. I'm studying the sport. And then it almost takes away from the trophy that I just got.
Oh, it does. Because
the kid that didn't play at all got a trophy as well. And I just remember even at 12 years old, I was just kind of like, what the heck was that? Right? Why did he get a trophy? And then I think I kind of just carried that mindset the rest of my life because I grew up in a poor family. So it was all on me. I didn't have much support from people around me. So I was like, it's all on me. So when somebody kind of gets everything handed to them and then they also get that participation trophy, mm-hmm. I think it just rubbed me the wrong way. But I kept that mindset from 12 years old till now because of the way it impacted me. And I was just like, okay, I really I have to really work hard now because everybody can get an award for not doing anything. And then it's kind of actually carried on until today. We're at a time now where more people just get accepted for anything, right? They can do anything and they get like some kind of accomplishment when it's like you didn't really do much, and now people are like wanting, like you said, wanting that applause, wanting that credit, and they're not really doing much. They're doing the bare minimum, where like there are people that literally hustle day in, day out to like truly get what they want because they're passionate about it. And I think that's kind of why I kind of adopted that no participation trophy mentality.
Yeah, man. Yo, dude, well said. And just going back to how you say you grinded for it, like, you know, spending those hours up on YouTube trying to get better. I mean, my equivalent was spending hours in the library or on my phone watching Pumping Iron or watching these guys, like, you know, and doing literally everything that I could with the spare time that I had to improve my craft, and devoting that much passion, that much extra time, to, you know, performing at a different level. And like, you would think that when you do win and you do earn, again, keyword earn, the trophy, that there would be some sort of value tied behind it that only the people that did what you did could, you know, achieve, right? Which sort of gets stripped, not sort of, entirely gets stripped away when, you know, you just hand out trophies for free. And just to dial it back here, so again, Nick and I don't come from very different backgrounds. I mean, I was raised pretty much in a poor background, like, just gonna keep it a stack here. And I'll tell you, like, when it came to athletics, when it came to sports, competing in any way, like, that was pretty much we really had. Like, that's all we really had that, like, was outside of the shitstorm that we lived in. And we're able to at least apply ourselves, you know, to our fullest abilities. I mean, excluding school. If you liked school, you liked school. I didn't like school, so I didn't apply myself fully there. But the, you know, the football field, the squared circle, the bodybuilding stages, you know, what it ended up becoming, those are the places where I ended up, you know, developing myself and putting my very best foot forward and earning, keyword earning, my place in the fitness industry, where now, as you said, the little leagues, I think that's very demeaning towards the athletes that are young and up and coming, like how you were and how I was. Because again, it's like, why put in all that effort for something that someone who really doesn't care, you know, can get as well, which is why I sort of moved towards individual sports like, you know, wrestling and bodybuilding as opposed to football, because I noticed that in the change room, you'd see that. You know, a lot of the guys just wouldn't show up to practice. A lot of the guys wouldn't do like jack shit, but they would be the ones, you know, celebrating after we put our fucking asses out on the line, practice after practice, and we made plays work, you know, and we made things happen. It really pissed me off, and it made me steer away from, you know, team sports, and it really did ruin what teamwork meant for me, because I personally think that, like, the no participation trophy mindset, it has to take away from something. Like, if you're going to make everyone feel like a champion when they're not, at some point in line, when it comes to like the teamwork side of things, there's definitely going to be like some negative chemistry that's going to be like built up, because you know who the fuck really is working and who isn't working, and they're still getting rewarded the same way. And like, it's odd. I'm seeing this happen nowadays more and more than ever. I'm not sure if it's because of the change of, and I don't want to get like too political here, but I'm also not going to get PC, if you know what I'm saying. But you're seeing like these kids being given out, like kids, like, you know, you think it's just innocent, it's just a little kids game, whatever. They're being given out participation trophies for shit they're not fucking doing, and then bitching and moaning and complaining, the same kids, you know, when they do something, they actually put a real effort in, but they don't quite get what they want, right? Because that's that element of competitiveness, that element of going through adversity has been stripped from them. And that's like a very valuable, important element. And, you know, I know you can relate with that 100%. I mean, you've definitely gone through some adversities in your, you know, in your journey, along your journey. And just allow the listeners, the meatheads, to know how those adversities actually shaped you and how valuable they actually are when it comes to comparing them to, you know, not getting a trophy versus going through adversity.
Yeah, 100%. So I really think, though, like, so as much as it rubbed me the wrong way with the no participation trophy mentality, whenever, like, I saw, like, yeah, like, it bugged me and everything. But like I said, like, since we come from similar backgrounds, like, it was all on me. So if I wanted to get out of it, like, as much as it sucked to see somebody get something that I worked so hard for, it also made it to where, like, I also kind of realized, like, life just isn't fair sometimes, right? Like, it's not going to work out the exact way you expected it to work out. There's going to be adversities, like we talked about, that are going to show up that aren't necessarily fair. So I guess in a way, the participation trophy kind of showed me early on that, like, hey, life's just not fair. You can put in work, and it doesn't mean you're going to get what you expected out of it, and vice versa. Like, some people aren't putting in work and getting results. And like you said, so me and you were the kids that are studying, like, our sport, our craft, while the other kid's going home playing video games, eating snacks, whatever he's doing. And then I come back, and then all of us get a trophy, then it's kind of just like, okay, like life's not fair. But now I carry that in business and life and everything, because when something doesn't go my way, I don't like sit in it and like feel super discouraged and sad, because like I realized early life isn't fair. Adversity happens. So I'm also, since I didn't care to earn that participation trophy, I also have the mentality now where it's like, okay, like I'm a nobody. It doesn't matter. Like life doesn't care. So I'm going to keep showing up, because if I got participation trophies, instead of really working, I really do believe that like I would have had a different mindset. I would have had like a woe is me mindset when life didn't work out for me. Because even through like my business, my online coaching business, there were so many times that I wanted to fold it and quit. And like I had tough love conversations and this, and it just came down to like, hey, like, what do you want more? Do you want this business to work out, or do you want to give up? Like, I had two decisions. It wasn't like, man, this just isn't fair. Like, blah, 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 just joined the program and they're doing better than me. Like, I saw that a lot. But like, if I sat in that and was just like, well, they're doing blah, 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 whatever, and I'm doing the same thing, it just means I need to work a little bit harder. Like, they got it. Like, I need to earn it as well. So I think even though I saw participation trophies, since I disagreed with them so heavily, I think that helped me in terms of like not comparing, so to speak. So like we were in the same coaching business. So whenever I see people doing better than me, it could have been, oh, woe is me. Or since I had the no participation trophy mentality, I was like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. So I got to keep showing up.
Period. I love the way you said that, man. That's 100,000% true, like to the bone. And actually, as you were talking, it brought up a memory for me. So back in 2014, that was the last time I hit the squared circle and did freestyle wrestling. And I remember how pissed off I was when I lost on an 11-11 tie. So for those of you that don't know how freestyle wrestling works, rolls, throws are a way to score points unless you pinfall them. And that year they were weighing throws more than rolls, and I had more rolls than this guy to score. So you don't need to know all the technical stuff, but just know that he won based on a technicality that he had more throws and I had more rolls. It was on my birthday after like I believe a 3-day long tournament, and I remember feeling angry because I lost, but at the same time there was like it was like a memorable sort of blissful experience. Like I was devastated that I lost, but at the same time I was like, well, like, and this is ironic, what if they gave me first place? Like, what if they gave me first place? This is something that I was thinking about after actually right before we hopped on this podcast. What if they gave me first place? Well, if they gave me first place, I would have ended up to compete in freestyle wrestling, probably wouldn't have met you, probably wouldn't have met 95% of all the other people that helped me elevate to a point now in my life where I can literally work from my laptop, work from my phone, go around the world and do all the, these amazing things. And I think to myself, thank God that I didn't get the first place, because it would have stripped my opportunity to meet you guys. But at the same time, even though I was somewhat deserving because it was a tie, had the rules been flipped around and they weighed more rolls than throws, I'd have been first place. I always look at that like, well, I've noticed every single time in my life, every single time that I've placed so close to first and I've never actually got it, the best things happen, right? Like in the moment I was always upset, didn't know what to do, but then it's like a natural response to adversity. Whenever I'm uncomfortable, whenever I'm just like sitting in a rut, and I'm not really like content with where I am or where I'm going, I end up making dramatic changes to do something, that is going to propel me more towards happiness and things that I would like to do. So even though I placed second, I was able to, I'll be honest with you, I quit because the mindset, I participated to the maximum degree and I didn't win. So, I was a butthurt, sore loser or whatever. That's the fucking truth. But after that time period of not competing for, say, 3 years in anything, I was just going to the gym. I realized, like sitting in that adversity and just sort of always expecting to win because I put the fucking work in isn't the way it's going to work. Because as you said, man, and you said it well, life is a bitch, right? So just because you could do everything, you could do more than anyone else ever does and still not get what you think you deserve, right? So I was, I stayed on my heels competing as a natural bodybuilder. And then as soon as I went on the stage and I won the first show, I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And this is how I'm going to do it. And I told myself, made a vow to myself that no matter what, like at the end of each and every single year, I'm going to be a better body mentally, a better man with my body, spiritually and mentally. right? It all mentally ties into financially too. And with that, I was able to more easily just tread through adversity, not really wait for claps, not really wait for, Matt, you're the champion, here's your first place. But I was able to just separate that side of myself and separate the grind and focus respectively on the grind. And that brought everything else that came later on, right? And I think that these kids, man, they're definitely getting robbed of that experience of like having to or being comfortable with sitting in adversity. Because I'll tell you, when I quit, it was like 3 years. I didn't do shit. I did not compete or anything. But like these kids nowadays, I'm sure with that same exact feeling, they would never ever return to anything. It was just like they're a has-been or something because of the mindset that the no participation trophy, mindset sort of like breeds. It's like, oh, I'm not good enough, and I'm not even good enough for a participation trophy. So what's the point of even continuing to do anything at all? I think it really does hurt, the kid's ability to sit in adversity and like, succeed in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I think today too, just in terms like, and even like people around our age, people are just so used to getting what they want for the work they put in, right? Like it's, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that. And it's like, as soon as you can realize like you really don't deserve anything, that's when life gets a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you can realize that, because like I had a very similar story to you and your nationals, whenever I signed to play college baseball. So that was literally my dream. My dream was to play college baseball, and then like obviously have pro aspirations. But like at the same time, I was a realist, so I was like, I know I'm gonna have to hustle. I'm smaller than most guys. Yeah. Like I was like, I'm athletic, but I was like, I'm gonna have to show up and put in the work. Well, I ended up signing. I grew up in Florida, and I ended up signing to a college in Minnesota. So I was way up there. Like I'm right below Canada where I signed.
Right there.
And whenever I got there, though, everything that could have went wrong went wrong. So
you gotta remember.
They didn't have my major, so I had to end up switching my major. They didn't have any in-person classes, so I had to take everything online. They didn't have a place for me to live, so we had to try and figure out a place to live. So the time that I was there, I was sleeping in a hotel. I ended up getting the flu like my fourth day there. Didn't have a car, didn't have transportation, couldn't get a hold of my coach. So I remember there like sick in this hotel by myself, like 2,000 plus miles away from home. And then the scholarship that they offered me, I ended up getting there, and the college was actually getting sued. And they were like, we actually have no funds to give a scholarship anymore, so we're going to have to take emergency loan out. So, like, I literally watched my dream get crushed day after day after day. And about 8 days later, I was like, I can't do this here. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, like, that was my loss, so to speak, because I had to hang up my cleats right there.
Right.
Like, it was like, okay, like, this was my last chance at college baseball, and I literally had to walk away from it. But in the same respect, like, I was low. I mean, I was devastated. Like, I went home and, like, I had, like, because, like, in my eyes, this was my way to get away from everything that I was trying to get away from for so long. The small town, the drama, the everything, the home life, all that stuff. This was my way to get out of it and then start something new. And 8 days later, I had to go right back to it. So, I felt like a failure for that reason. Then I was devastated because I was like, here was college dreams. It was about to happen. And I just watched it, like, go through my fingers. But whenever I came back, it was like, okay, like, it's not happening again. Like, I'm not going back to the same rut that I came in. So I ended up getting a job and then ended up starting an online clothing line. That online clothing line introduced me to a buddy that introduced me to online coaching. I hired a mentor. That mentor sucked. But then through that mentor, I met a guy named Mason. Mason introduced me to B-Mark, and kind of the rest is history. But, like, almost the exact same thing you said, this would never have happened. I wouldn't have the ability to do what I do today if college baseball worked out.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have met the buddy that introduced me to online coaching. I wouldn't have been, like, back to the wall, back at home, being like, you need to figure this out. Like, none of that would have happened. But I also want to say this for anybody listening. Like, I didn't go home and just was like, none of this is going to happen, and then it was easy. It wasn't easy, guys. Like, I was working jobs I hated. I ended up doing air conditioning work, cutting my hands every day, working at 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, hated my job, making like $300 a week. Hated that, but like, it was a grind day and day and day and day. And it was just, okay, I'm going to save. And I was putting it all towards a clothing line. And then guess what? I watched the clothing line not succeed. So, like, guys, it wasn't just like I came home and was like, boom, successful, right? It was like, okay, you had to work a job you hate. Okay, like, you have to, then throughout all this, my parents got divorced. So, like, it wasn't like, oh, I came home and everything just magically came together. It was like I probably got home and everything was harder, but like I knew I wasn't going back to the rut I was in before I left. So like it wasn't like it was just an easy path to where I'm at today from whenever I got home from ending up quitting baseball.
No, I feel you on that 1,000,000,000%, man. You kept it a stack with us there. So one thing I want to, this is sort of like a question, Nick. So would you say, because this is something that we both experienced, would you say that sometimes, if not most times, in the earlier part of your journey, the biggest possible win, the biggest possible trophy lies beneath your biggest failure? Like the most adversity you could possibly go through, that's where the true trophy lies when it comes to like no participation. So like, just to put this into perspective, when you get that participation trophy, it robs you of your ability to get what is bigger behind the loss, or the whatever it is that the negative stigmatized you placed not first or whatever, right? Do you agree that most of, if not all of the good things exist on the opposite side of adversity? And do you also agree that, having this mindset robs you of that?
Oh, dude, 1,000%. So like, imagine if I went there, or even like we're going back to Little League or Babe Ruth, whatever, and say they gave me a participation trophy, that now robs me of the grit and work ethic that I could have put in. So one, it makes me content. So now I'm going to be a more content person when life doesn't go my way. So now it's like, oh, like, you're going to be okay with being mediocre. So like, and I'm completely against mediocre. So I do believe that. And then the adversity, I 100% agree, because like, if you're hungry for it and then you lose, like that just like lights a fire in you. Like you're like, I hate that. I hate the taste of losing. So I'm going to do everything I can. And guys, like, I'm not even saying you have to place first. Like Matt with bodybuilding, like you could play second and then give your all and play second again. But the fact that you knew you showed up at your very best,
that happened. Still happy. That totally. Right? We're gonna dive into that later, but go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like, and then like the same thing with me in baseball. Like if I showed up every day, gave it my all, and I still didn't get MVP, like I can't be mad at that.
No.
Like I'd be mad if it was like they just handed it to somebody who didn't deserve it, right? But like if it's like another kid that's grinding as hard as I am, like I can't get mad at that. So like the same thing whenever we talk about this with business, like when I saw other people winning, I couldn't get mad at that, right? They're putting in the work, right? If they're not putting in the work and winning, then yeah, I'd be pissed off. But like most of the people that I'm talking about and referring to, like they were hustling. They were putting in the work just like I was. So I can't be mad that they were succeeding. So I do think that like when adversity comes, I do believe that if you have the right mindset, it's going to light a fire in you that's going to make you get out of it.
No, 100%, man. Yeah, and I think that fire is something that most kids, or not most, all kids should chase, again, because the best things do come from that. As I said, for me, with mine was wrestling, not being able to wrestle for Team Canada and like be a pro wrestler on the freestyle scene is what allowed me to be a pro bodybuilder on the other side. And not just like, so you mentioned, just to tie into what you're talking about earlier, you had to work those fucking shitty jobs, man. Your hands were cut up, bleeding, fucking $300 a week. It was just shit. You didn't fucking want to do it. Like, and I was in the same boat. General labor at, I'm not sure if you know what Canadian Tire is, but these big, corporations and stuff, just warehouse jobs after warehouse jobs, until I eventually moved into security. And I didn't really hate it, but it didn't pay well, and I didn't have enough time to do what I wanted to do, like, which was actually go to train. Dude, I used to fucking, I think I told you this several times, hide in the corners to eat meals and drink water. And I had such a good rapport with my security team that, they would like radio me and let me know when our boss, her name was Karen, legit, was walking around the hallways so I could hide and eat my meals and just do the things that I wanted to do, right? So it made life a lot more difficult to live because I had to work for somebody else and work in a confined space when it comes to time and like being at a certain location. So, of course, being on the other side now where like I have the liberty, I have the freedom to work from my phone and my laptop and impact people literally across the globe, just as you do and you've done for so many years at this point. It's definitely a blessing and I'm grateful that I had to go through that pain. But one thing that you also mentioned, about competing, grinding, getting second place, third place, whatever it is, not winning, grinding even harder, coming back and still not fucking winning. So that's something that actually experienced, and believe me, it was overshadowed. This is something that you wouldn't have found out unless I'm telling you now. So when I got my pro card, I actually was competing in 2 divisions, bodybuilding and classic physique. right? So, 2019, I competed in the nationals and I placed second. It was my first ever loss on the bodybuilding game, whatever. Okay. And I was training with like a vendetta in my mind. I'm like, I'm coming back. I'm going to beat this guy. His name was Jonathan. He's a great guy. I'm going to go beat Jonathan. I'm going to go beat Jonathan. That's what I'm going to do every training session. That was the mindset. COVID happened. 2022, there was no nationals, but 2021 there was. So I'm going to the nationals and I'm ready with the mindset of the underdog from 2019. I go there, and in bodybuilding, I dominate. I turned pro in bodybuilding, but I also competed in classic physique. And this is something that not a lot of people know, but I ended up placing second in classic physique right after I got my pro card, right? But to be fair, that guy ended up getting his pro card too. But if I'm thinking now, if that guy didn't get his pro card and then he beat me and I just turned pro, like, what does that mean? And then I was putting into my brain, I'm like, well, am I doing this for a pro card? Am I doing this for a medal? Am I doing this for a trophy? Or am I doing this because I fucking genuinely love it and I wouldn't be doing anything else with my life if it wasn't this, right? So then I realized, I'm like, my passion is truly bodybuilding, not winning or losing, right? And because my passion is bodybuilding, I'm going to keep showing up regardless of the outcome. So I think that it's amazing that you brought that up and you said that, because it really did ring a couple of bells that honestly were overshadowed with the success, because there was a little bit of undermining, we'll say, defeat in that, right? So, dude, thank you for that, man. That was pretty awesome. All right, so guys and girls, essentially what we want you to do, and let me know if I'm speaking correctly on your behalf, Nick, is to, number one, stop doing things for recognition or praise. And if you are doing things only for recognition and praise, it's time to actually reevaluate why you're doing these things. If you actually like doing these things, whether it's competing, whether it's the job that you're doing, anything along those lines, really just sit down and have that chat with yourself and, ask yourself, are you doing this for your in-laws? Are you doing this for your parents? Are you doing this because you just want to be seen as somebody that you either, believe or not, or think that you shouldn't be? Like, ask yourself these questions because they fucking matter. You don't know what you could be holding yourself away from. Like that, the legacy or the dream that you have that you're probably too ashamed to ever share with anybody else outside of the bedroom door is possible to attain if you break that, that glass wall, we'll say, and go through the adversity that is on the other side of, I guess, people pleasing, because that's what this is in a sense. They're people pleasing the athlete, right? Or the people pleasing the employee or whatever in the situation is. And essentially just to start doing things based off of an authentic desire to succeed and, be confident in what you're doing, like actually be proud of what the fuck you're creating and what you're doing. And the result isn't the one that's dictating, your level of passion towards, what it is that you're doing. Right. So, any last words you got to say, Nick, before we wrap it up here today?
Yeah, man, I actually want to say two last things. One, guys, like anybody listening, don't be scared to fail, right? Like use the failure to kind of like learn more about yourself, use the failure to kind of like me and Matt did, like maybe that's going to open a door that you didn't expect to be open, right? So don't sit in this like woe is me mentality. If failure happens, failure is a good thing. Learn from it, okay? And the second one is actually a saying from a pastor that I listen to, and he says, run towards the roar, okay? And what it is when lions hunt, it's usually the male lion that stands out and goes towards the prey, and he does his roar. So whenever he roars, the female lion is behind the prey. So when he roars, the prey turns around and they run directly into the female lion. Okay, guys? So the same thing's going to happen in life. So like instead of like avoiding adversity, avoiding discomfort, run head on to it, right? Because that's where you're going to find the growth. That's where you're going to find what you actually enjoy. That's where you're going to find the failure and the success. So like, don't be scared of adversity. I think right now a lot of people are very content with doing the bare minimum and not getting failure, but not really getting what they want out of life. So be okay with failure because it's probably going to open up doors that you didn't expect to be opened. No,
100%. Well said, dude. And that's, you're giving me father vibes here, because that's something that my dad would say. There's a saying for that in Swahili, because in Congo, like, there are always animal fucking references and metaphors. So that's actually gold. I'm actually going to talk to my dad about that one. If I can get that quoted in Swahili, I'm definitely going to drop that in the group. That was fucking sweet, man. This guy just, he fucking outdid me on my podcast today. I see you, Nick. All right. Okay, yo, dude, thanks so much for your time and attention today. I'm super fucking grateful. And man, like, dude, if anyone wants to follow your journey, see what the fuck Nick's up to, where do they find you?
Yeah, so I'm primarily just Instagram. It's at Nick Matthews Fit, 2 T's in Matthews.
Yeah, yeah. You got two T's, two Matts in the house. You know it's good.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to peace out.
All right, peace out, meatheads.
Yeah. Later, bro.